Oh boy, it's your buddy Mike Messier. Hey folks, pro wrestling fans, most likely pro wrestling fans will be here. This is something you can, watch the replay if you like. It's your buddy Mike Messier. I just saw the AEW All Out 2021. Is this the third or fourth All Out show already? It must be the third, 2019, 20, and 21. That's how fast time flies. And maybe if AEW keeps doing shows like this, we'll be talking about the 13th All Out in 10 years or the 23rd. I mean, that's how time goes by, folks. But AEW made a statement tonight in the world of professional wrestling, and I call it professional wrestling. Someone on Twitter the other day was saying, well, it's all sports entertainment. And I said, well, actually, it's not. Sports entertainment is a little thing that Junior made up, and I've never agreed with it. And no kid you ever see on the street says, I want to grow up to be a sports entertainer. So this is professional fucking wrestling at its finest. Was professional wrestling at its finest tonight? It was probably for 2021. I don't think you could get much better. I mean, I think for AEW, they did just about as good a show as they could do. I mean, I really do think that for AEW, this was an A+ show. And probably for any promotion, this was at least an A show. Peaks and valleys. I don't think there was any stinkers on this card. If you have any thoughts on your favorite match. Believe it or not, one of my favorite matches on this thing, and I hate to get the name wrong of the gentleman. I'm a little tired, folks. Jon Moxley's match against the Japanese legend tonight. Kind of my low-key favorite match. Just for some reason, I thought they hit hard. I was trying to guess the age of the gentleman that he was wrestling. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on his name. But I thought he could have been 50 years old, maybe a little younger. But, Moxley has this thing. He likes to wrestle these Japanese guys. He'll be going against the other gentleman on I believe, Wednesday. So I thought that Moxley match was pretty damn good. And what I kind of was thinking when I was watching the Moxley match was this is the type of match you need on a pay-per-view so you can say, hey, we saw something, different tonight. We didn't just see our regular wrestlers wrestling our regular matches. And I think with, I hate to put them down or whatever, but WWE, a lot of times you watch their pay-per-views and you don't have that match that's just like a little bit off. You think about Chris Jericho, 20 years ago or something. He wrestled a guy named Gato on a WCW pay-per-view, just some random monthly pay-per-view, uncensored or something. Gato versus Chris Jericho. And it's like, well, geez, I wasn't expecting to see this match. So kind of like that here, you're just not expecting this type of Moxley match. And I thought it was good. People are kind of praising Eddie Kingston versus Miro. I can see why. Hard chops, hamburger meat. That's how I would have called it if I was Jim Ross. I would have said hamburger meat on the chest of Miro. I've been in a battle royal. I've taken some chops, and your chest can get really fucked up. And even a guy that's been around forever, or for a while, Miro, his chest was getting pretty pounded by Eddie. Good match. The women's title match, Britt Baker. I mean, she's definitely the popular heel. It's just not even a debate at this point. But she's very pretty. She's the type of girl, Britt Baker, is just, she the more you look at her, the more kind of attractive she is. Not only physically as just a woman, but as an entertainer, her persona, that DDS thing is over. She's over. She's even getting, Rebel and the other one, Jamie Hager, whatever her name is, she's getting them over. If they put her with Adam Cole, Bebe, together here in AEW as a power couple, that would get over. I don't know if that would help Britt, to be honest with you. Maybe it would. Who knows? I think that if you think of the other channel there, Seth and Becky, they diffused them when they put them together as a couple. I think a babyface couple a couple of years ago in WWE is a horrible move. So, maybe AEW will just kind of avoid that. Maybe they'll make little references to each other. But any event, lot of surprises that we knew were coming. I'm putting the quotes up. Adam Cole, Ruby Soho, people like her name. They get the song from Rancid. I think that'll be another sing-along song. I mean, CM Punk kind of, showed the hand a little bit I watched that Dark speech with CM Punk. It was kind of god-awful, where he was trying to sing Golden Girls song with Jungle Boy, and it was just fucking horrible. Jungle Boy had no clue what the song was. And I don't think the audience did either, to be honest with you. So sorry, Punk. 80s reruns, generation gap. You got generation gap, Punk. You know what I mean? Anyway, going back, let's talk about CM Punk and his big match here. By the way, you can question or comment if you like. I know I'm a little late to the game. I know there's a lot of wrestling podcasts going on right now. That's fine. I was listening to Joe Cronin. He's very excited about this. I actually had to charge up my phone a bit because I did the pre-show kind of live stream, which was a lot of fun. But that kind of ate up my battery. And I went into the movie theater because I saw this show at the movie theater. And I actually brought a phone cord with a fucking outlet thing into the theater. And there was like plenty of open plug-in jacks. And I'm trying to charge my fucking phone. And I noticed that it wasn't working. And I was getting all flustered, like, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. And I think it was just the cord is shit. So that kind of sucked. So I wasn't able to hop right on and be your immediate fucking wrestling asshole for the night. But I'm here. And like I said, you can watch this in the replay and share it with friends and finger fuck yourself. Do it if you want. The guys in this movie theater that I watched this with, all random strangers. This was kind of funny. I got, I get in there, a nice gentleman. I think he was with his son. He looked me over. I had my big muscles and my tank top. And he said, "Are you wrestling on the show?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll be wrestling Dr. Britt in mud." And he said, "God bless you." So a little bit of humor. Some people respect my magnitude, my presence when I enter a room, which I appreciate. I go to my back row, and I got like the back row upper left corner seat that I totally wanted. I reserved that seat, and I got there like 7:15 because I just had a feeling that even though these were reserved seats, if I didn't get in there to this movie theater properly, only 37 seats, by the way, that I'd be dealing with some asshole that'd be sitting in my seat. You know what I mean? I just had that feeling. So I get in there, and it wasn't that. It was the theater was almost sold out. I'd say that 32 out of 37 seats were sold. And these fucks come in, nice people, but fucks. Two guys and a girl, and then they had other assholes joining them. And basically, they sat the fat guy next to me. Like, of all the fucks they had like a medium-sized guy, and then a girl that was kind of medium-sized, and then a guy. I could be wrong, but I think I overheard them saying he was Trevor Murdoch's cousin. He kind of looked like it. Nice guy, from what I could tell, but just... he was bigger than me, and I'm pretty fucking big. Like usually 9 times out of 10, I'm the biggest guy in a situation. So when a fucker is bigger than me and not like muscle, he's not like Road Warrior Animal or something. It's just, bulk, just fucking redneck bulk. And I'm just like, fuck. So why is this asshole sitting next to me? I mean, just common logic. You put the girl next to me, for Christ's sakes. You guys aren't going to fuck her. Or put this smaller guy next to me or do something. But they put the big fat fuck next to me. I'm like, okay, assholes, you're pushing my fucking hand. So basically, I went to the front row and sat in the goddamn handicap companion chair. Don't worry, there was no handicap people came into the theater and ran their fucking motorized wheelchair over my foot. Get out of my seat. So the point of the matter is, I don't let the world fuck me around. I fuck the world around. You know what I mean? If I reserve my chair and some asshole big guy sits next to me, I'm not going to tolerate that. I will find a fucking chair and sit alone and stretch my fucking arms and my legs and put my shit on the floor and not feel like I'm on a cozy chair with some fuck that I don't know. So any goddamned way. And this guy, Trevor Murdoch's cousin or whatever the fuck, nice guy, but he's wearing a goddamn mask. I'm like, asshole, I got the fucking jabs in my arm. I'm not going to wear a mask during a whole 3-hour, 5-hour wrestling show because I got fucking vaccinated. So what the fuck? So I sat in the goddamn front row to my lonesome. A nice gentleman, not that it matters, but just to paint a story, okay? African-American fellow sitting in another handicap chair across in my aisle. He was not a handicap companion either. And my vibe from him was he was probably sitting amongst the masses behind me. He saw what I did and he copied me. So we had a couple of buddy moments where we would kind of say nice match or whatever the fuck. He sneezed a couple of times and I said bless you and he said thank you. So a little bit of niceties. We were both impressed. Me and this random black guy were impressed by the fucking cage match. Oh my cunt. What a great match. Nice bloody match. I was going to say Luchasaurus, Lucha Brothers, and the fucking Hardy Boys or the Jeff Boys or whatever the fuck, the Young Fucks, the Young Bucks. Nice match, folks. I liked it. Kind of an epic match. For some reason, I have to say this, and please forgive me if I do. Anderson's Rock and Roll Express, Starrcade 85. What that match, Ole and Arn Anderson versus Ricky and Robert from Starrcade 85, what that match was to that generation, this Lucha Brothers Young Bucks match may be to this generation, or maybe even more, because more people saw this match. You know what I mean? So stick that in your ass and fuck it. But if you have the way of seeing Starrcade 85, go back in time and watch the Rock and Rolls versus the Andersons, and you'll see it just not even as a comparison, like what's a better match, but just as a fun game. Like you saw what was an epic 2021 modern day big time awesome cage match for this generation. Now go back 3 or 4 generations, watch the Andersons versus the Rock and Roll Express, Starrcade 85. Actually, Starrcade 86. I have to correct myself. Starrcade 86. The Rock and Rolls fought the Russians, Ivan and Nikita Koloff, at Starrcade 85 in a cage. So I just corrected my fucking self. But the Rock and Rolls versus the Andersons at Starrcade 86. I'd have to watch that Russians match again to see if that was good. The Koloffs, Nikita and Ivan. Nikita Koloff, by the way, cried on the cover of Wrestling 87, and I did do a recent video for Monty and the Pharaoh show, the AEW Apologist video series, so you can find that if you like, on Monty and the Pharaoh YouTube channel. So I'll have my own little playlist there, where I apologize for AEW. Anyway, let's see. So, God, I haven't gotten around to talking about CM Punk. I feel like CM Punk should be fucking buying Darby Allin a new skateboard or whatever. My buddy there, Ian Gonzo Shark, or Gonzo or Shark, he made a good point that Punk really did well for 7 years off. And I would agree. I think that we've seen, maybe the best comebacks ever after long delays. I'd probably give it to The Rock at that WrestleMania when he came back. But of course, he had a little warm-up match at Survivor Series. But I'd probably go with The Rock's comeback and also Shawn Michaels' 2002 SummerSlam comeback after 4 years. This one was interesting. I think CM Punk did very well in storytelling. I think he really owes Darby a fucking beer or a fucking Nestle Quick Mix or chocolate milk or something, because I think that Darby Allin sold for this guy. Darby Allin made the match. I don't know with anybody else. I mean, who else could have pulled this match off? I think Darby really put some time in. I don't know if behind the scenes Sting was actually an advisor to the match. I mean, I don't know if that's actually happening. If like Sting is kind of as they call it, a producer or a coach for Darby, or if Tully does that for FTR or Arn does that for Cody. I don't know if that's a work or a shoot or just bullshit. But I think you have to give it up to Darby Allin because he made that match tonight. He was the star of that match. And if you watch it from a certain perspective, and not just fanboy fuck over Punk. Punk did his part, but I think he really benefited from this young guy. Jim Ross made an astute observation that, CM Punk hadn't wrestled in 7 years, and that Darby Allin's career started 13 months after. Some people running around, very exciting. Darby Allin's career started 13 months after Punk's last match. I thought that was very interesting. A little kernel of truth in an army of lies that is pro wrestling commentary. So I liked the match. I did like the match. What I'm trying to say is, did CM Punk look like a guy that's ready to go for another year or two? I don't know about that. It seemed to me, I could be wrong. I'm sure I will be wrong. I'm sure that Punk will dye his hair black. He'll get a little bit better shape. The ring rust will wear off. Promo skills are great. Babyface shtick Punk is working, at least in Chicago. I'm sure it'll work everywhere. But tonight, to me, and I'm a harsh critic, it seemed like Punk was a little bit aged. And I don't think he was struggling to keep up. I think he was keeping up. I just felt like this felt like a really good way to go out. Like come back for one match and then become a commentator or a PR guy. And sometimes I, maybe like you, I like to think that I'm the wrestler. And what would I be thinking if I was that wrestler? I kind of felt that if I was CM Punk and having the night that I had, I'd say, you know what? I had a good match. I didn't get hurt, but I'm done. I just didn't feel watching CM Punk tonight. No offense to CM Punk. I didn't feel like he needs to be wrestling in this promotion right now when all this young talent that he talks about working with can work better matches without him. And I just feel that way. And maybe others disagree. I think the psychology is there for Punk. But I just feel that, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is unable. I just felt like Punk, maybe Ian's right, the Gonzo Shark there on Twitter. Maybe it's just ring rust. I just felt that there's a lot of ring rust there. And I'm totally open to Punk having more matches and doing great. And I think he will. But just based on what I saw tonight, my feeling was this Darby kid is carrying this guy. And I think Punk kind of knows that. And there's nothing I can really pinpoint. See, that's the thing. Oh, was he blown up? Was he winded? Was he fat? No. He was in decent shape. He kind of looked a little skinny fat, but Punk always looked a little skinny fat. He wasn't a body guy. Like when he really had to try, he'd get in WWE shape. But that's my thought. I like I said, I could be wrong. But just there were certain moments, and coupling that with the Golden Girls singing, I felt like, I don't know. I just feel like, if anything, I'd like to see Sting and fucking CM Punk work an angle, because I just feel that Punk is in this elder statesman category. Like he's kind of gotten old quick, so to speak. If you feel differently, you can leave a comment and say no, no, no. The Chris Jericho thing, I did predict Jericho to win. Once again, you could have another Geezers at Caesars between Jericho and Punk. I predicted Jericho victory, and Jericho was victorious. I'm getting a little low battery. I have to wrap this up. But Jericho, I thought, was good. Once again, I think maybe Jericho should just go ahead and retire on his own terms. But Jericho probably, if he was thinking about making this an actual retirement match, I'd say that Jericho probably switched his mind once he saw all these people coming in, Daniel Bryan, Adam Cole, etc. So let's skip ahead to the finale. Folks, I was getting tired by that point, to be honest. I was in the movie theater. I probably dozed off a little bit during Christian and Omega. No offense to those guys or their fans. I was just fucking tired as fuck. So I can't say that I can speak for that entire match, but I will say this. At the end, we saw the whole thing. Adam Cole, baby, comes out. Nice little heel switch. But of course, that whole group is like heels, but people like him, except maybe Carl Anderson, if you saw his Twitter shit over the last few days. And then Bryan Danielson, and let's get used to calling him that. Bryan fucking Danielson comes out, looked pretty good himself. No T-shirt to sell. Good for him, you know. We're talking about Bryan Danielson. No Bryan Danielson All Elite T-shirt, just a white shirt. A little bit of a man bun. So that's his hair preference. That's fine. No inspirations tonight. The two ladies, the Peyton Royce and the other one, the funny girl, they weren't there tonight. I thought Daniel looked good. I thought it was good that Daniel and they kind of drew some lines, and it was nice to see, you know, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, who've kind of been homegrown AEW talent. A lot of WWE fans say, "Oh, they're just using old WWE guys." Well, I thought it was a move that made sense, and it was pretty much in keeping with AEW that they put Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus into that final mix, along with Christian and Daniel Bryan, to fight the Elite. It was just pretty close to a perfect show. Once again, others, especially my buddy Joe Cronin and his pal, his co-host, nice guy, were saying it was a predictable show, but it was Jake on the Joe Cronin show. Jake was especially saying it was predictable, but if it's good, that's okay. And I agree. If a show is predictable, like I predicted Lucha Brothers to win the tag belts, and not every match, but I predicted most of these matches to go the way they did. But if it's working, then it's good. You don't have to just throw random shit out there just to confuse people. Good show, great show, a crowd pleasing show. As I'm leaving the theater tonight, the movie theater, I heard, you know, some of these are pretty hardcore AEW fans. Although there's one kid in there that he might have had a learning disability or something, because he was kind of, you know, speaking out of patterns and stuff. And he had like some random WWF shirt, like a SummerSlam 2008 shirt on or something. You know, with all the different WWF wrestlers' faces and a collage, like some crap shirt. But he was like yelling at the screen and getting all excited. But somebody in that pack at the end of this thing said WWE is fucked. Well, I don't know. It depends on how you look at it. I mean, I've been campaigning against the WWE for a while, but the reality is AEW having a really great pay-per-view, even with some WWE talents that have just left, does that necessarily bury or destroy the WWE? I don't know about that. Maybe 20 years ago it would have, but now they've got these guaranteed money systems coming in from their overseas deals and their network deals and their Peacock deals. This car's just sitting here like an asshole. So I just feel like WWE's got the money, and the NXT thing is unfortunate for NXT fans. That whole fucking new logo stinks or sucks. So there you have it, folks. Did I forget anything? I probably did. Ruby Soho winning was nice. I kind of wish they had Thunder Rosa win and just push Ruby back a little bit, like not hot shot her with the title with the Battle Royal victory. I would say with that, Paul White going over, I'll say this. There was a tinge more former WWE talent welcoming that I would have done. And maybe the one thing I would have done is have Thunder Rosa edge out Ruby in that women's battle royal. My feeling is just, I don't think any WWE wrestler came there tonight, recent WWE wrestler, and was made to look bad, which is fine. It's a welcoming environment. But I think just to kind of balance it out a little bit, you know, if either Paul White had lost and put over this heel QT Marshall, or if Ruby had lost a close one to Thunder, it would just give the feeling like we're not, you know, rolling over for all the WWE people. So that's it. That's, you know, just a little thought, not a big fucking deal. Give the show an A. It was fun. Thanks. Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel.